News that former Vancouver Canucks goaltender Roberto Luongo, announced his retirement on Twitter. Here were the tweets that he shared. A few thoughts on his decision. That open letter to the fans really talked about his body. Had been through the ringer. And then later, hanging up the pads right there. LeBron James would appreciate that tweet. Perry Solkowski from Sportsnet 650 standing by to talk about what Luongo meant to the Canucks and what this move means to the Canucks today. Good morning, Perry.
Riaz, good morning. What a day this is. Lots for us to talk about on Sportsnet 650 radio over here. And, of course, Roberto Luongo is the topic. A lot of people, I think, surprised yesterday morning when they said he's retiring. Not that it wasn't an option, but most thought when you're retiring, you can, you're injured, you can collect your salary. Roberto doing it his way, and I think maybe that's the theme of it. Said, no, I'm going to leave the money on the table. I don't need it. The game has been good to me. Now, from a sports perspective, we won't get into it. It hurts the Vancouver Canucks because that means there's $3 million against them as a salary cap. But it should really be a day to celebrate one of the most unique athletes that ever played in Vancouver, and one guy, and maybe the first guy in the NHL that let people in. I know you're on your Instagram and Twitter and social media, as are we in the media, but to me, that may be the one most significant thing that Roberto Luongo did. We're guarded trying to find out who these guys are all about. What can they say when they lose a game? They're disappointed. When they win, they're great. Don't want to get too emotional. But then all of a sudden, there was this Strombone one account. Who is he? What's he all about? And there was Roberto Luongo, who really put the curtain down and showed us his sense of humor. Last night was funny in the sense that here he's retired, and everyone's going to social media going, what's he going to do? He's going to post something. And there you see he's got the goalie pads hanging up. But here's a guy in the biggest game ever played in this city, and I think that was 2010, not 2011, won a gold medal for Canada at Rogers Arena. At 2011, boy, that's the one thing. He was so hot and cold in that series, pumping my tires, Roberto Luongo, and it didn't work out for him. But he won a world championship. I just think he won this fan base over. Was put in some really tough decisions. One of the craziest ones was when the Vancouver Canucks decided to make him the captain of the team. What do you do as a goalie when you have to stand in front of the media and your team just lost a 2-1 hockey game? It's not his fault. He can't score. But he accepted that role. He stood up in front of all the cameras, and he played it out. So on a day like this, I think it's a celebration of a goalie who was the best to ever wear a Vancouver Canuck uniform. A goalie who, I don't know if you're going to say was one of the best ever in the NHL, but certainly played three more, only two other goalies played more hockey games than him as far as all time. So longevity is there. His save percentage was great. I think people in Vancouver will always think Roberto Luongo was ours. Florida has been his home. He's back there. He's embraced that community, some tragedy through that, but he has been there. But what a unique guy. And I think a lot of people should be smiling and laughing at what he brought. I think he said he's going to walk away from the game, hang out with his family. But Roberto Luongo will show up again through social media or commentating. He was something to remember. But he was also that one guy who just fell a little bit short. And some people are calling us in Texas going, geez, if he could have. But let's not talk about what didn't happen in 2011. Celebrate an incredible career for one of the most unique athletes that ever represented the city of Vancouver.
There it is, Perry Solkowski, Sportsnet 650. Thanks for chiming in, Perry, and I hope Perry speaks at Roberto's retirement ceremony, because that was simply awesome, celebrating what Roberto did for us. We'll talk more about the cap and what it means for the Canucks throughout this show and future.